People have a funny way of testing their limits, often finding themselves in situations that would send the rest of us sprinting in the opposite direction. While some thrill-seekers climb mountains or dive into the ocean, others seem to find trouble lurking in the most unexpected places. You might be surprised to know that throughout history, many people have faced death and somehow lived to tell the tale. Kind of like a bad sequel that just keeps getting made. Today we're sharing some wild survival stories of folks who stared in danger in the face and came out smiling, and maybe a little scratched up. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments which unbelievable escapes you think are the most jaw-dropping. In 1971, 17-year-old Julian Kopke was on a flight over the Amazon rainforest in Peru, thinking it would be a routine adventure. Everything seemed fine until the plane started shaking like a piñata at a birthday party. Then it crashed from a height of 10,000 feet. Surprisingly, Julian was still strapped into her seat when the plane hit the ground, which was like winning the survival lottery. Once she survived the crash, her real challenge began. Alone in the dense jungle, she was injured and completely disoriented, like a lost puppy with no idea where to go. With no one around to help, she had to focus on survival. For 11 grueling days, she battled hunger, dehydration, and the terrifying sounds of the jungle that would have scared most people out of their minds. Using her wits, Julian drank rainwater and munched on whatever she could find, even insects. Each day felt like a new test of her determination. Finally, she stumbled upon a group of lumbermen who rescued her, turning a nightmare into one of the most incredible survival stories ever. Her bravery and cleverness are proof that humans can handle more than we think. Fast forward to 2003, and we meet Aron Ralston, a thrill-seeker who thought a canyoneering trip in Utah's Blue John Canyon would be a fun idea. While navigating the rocky terrain, he experienced a real-life, hold-my-beer moment when a boulder fell, pinning his arm against the canyon wall. Suddenly, Aron found himself in a jam, trapped with no hope of rescue and nowhere to go but up, if he could manage it. As the days passed and hunger set in, Aron faced a tough choice: sit around and wait for help or pull off something straight out of an action movie. After 5 days of feeling like a human sandwich, he got creative. Armed with a dull multi-tool, the kind you'd find in a bargain bin, he decided to amputate his own arm to break free. With one arm gone, he hiked out of the canyon, bleeding like a horror movie extra. Miraculously, he encountered some hikers who helped him get to safety. Aron's determination and sheer will to live inspired the film 127 Hours, showcasing just how far someone will go to survive when the odds seem insurmountable. In 1994, Italian marathon runner Moro Prosperi thought it would be a great idea to join the Marathon des Sables in the Sahara Desert, a race infamous for pushing athletes to their limits. While trudging through the shifting sands, disaster struck when a sandstorm hit, obscuring his sense of direction. Once the storm cleared, Moro realized he was completely lost, and that's when the adventure really got wild. With little food and no water, he faced the brutal desert conditions. For 10 long days, Moro survived by eating insects and drinking his own urine, definitely not what he signed up for. Each day was a challenge as he wandered, desperately hoping for rescue. His adventure was like a desert-themed episode of Survivor, complete with unexpected plot twists. Just when he thought he'd be living in the sand forever, Moro stumbled upon a nomadic tribe who provided him with the help he needed. They eventually airlifted him to safety, turning his nightmarish ordeal into a story of triumph. Moro's experience is a powerful reminder of how far the human spirit can go, even if it means getting a little creative with the menu. Sometimes, survival takes you far from land and deep into the ocean. This man, Salvador Alvarenga, a fisherman from El Salvador, who thought a fishing trip would be a relaxing getaway. Unfortunately, in 2012, after his boat's engine failed, he found himself adrift in the vast Pacific Ocean for an astonishing 14 months. That's a vacation gone horribly wrong. Alone on a tiny boat, Salvador survived by catching fish and drinking turtle blood. Talk about a menu that would make even the bravest chef cringe. He faced storms, scorching sun, and even sharks circling his boat like they were auditioning for Shark Tank. It was a relentless struggle against hunger and thirst, where each day felt like a new episode of Survivor Ocean Edition. Finally, in January 2014, after drifting over 7,000 miles, Salvador washed ashore on the Marshall Islands, likely giving the locals a real shock. His survival story is one of the most remarkable tales in maritime history, illustrating the incredible power of human tenacity when faced with nature's might. If there's a medal for patience, he definitely deserves it. In 2009, a plane carrying 20 people crashed in a dense forest in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and among the wreckage was 13-year-old Evanston, the sole survivor. Can you imagine waking up in the middle of a tragedy like that? Sadly, everyone else on board, including his parents, didn't make it. That's a lot for a young person to handle. For 3 days, Evanston had to navigate through the wilderness using his instincts to stay alive. He found leaves to munch on and rainwater to drink, all while grappling with the shock of losing his family. It was a true test of strength and willpower. It's like being in a movie where you have to fight for your life, and he was doing it all alone. Eventually, his strength and determination led him to safety, where he was finally found and rescued. Evanston's story is a poignant reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the instinctual drive to live, even in the face of unimaginable loss. It's like he took a crash course in survival and aced it. In 2012, Lionel Stevenson decided to hit the slopes of the French Alps for a day of skiing, thinking it would be just another fun outing. However, disaster struck when he was caught in a sudden avalanche that buried him under several feet of snow. Talk about the ultimate snow day gone wrong. As the freezing cold set in, Lionel quickly lost track of time while battling hypothermia and frostbite. He was buried, but somehow he held on to hope, dreaming of hot cocoa and a warm fireplace. Just when it seemed all was lost, rescuers finally located him, digging him out from the snow like he was a forgotten snowman. Despite his harrowing experience, Lionel made a full recovery. His survival showcases not only the dangers of nature, but also the importance of preparedness and resilience in extreme conditions. His story reminds us to always be careful when enjoying outdoor adventures, because Mother Nature can be a real diva. At just 16 years old, Jessica Watson decided to take on a challenge that would scare most adults, sailing solo around the world. In 2010, she set sail on her small yacht, determined to conquer treacherous waters and unpredictable weather. Some might call it brave, others might call it crazy. Throughout her journey, Jessica faced numerous challenges, including a collision with a cargo ship that caused significant damage to her boat. Instead of panicking, she channeled her inner DIY expert and made repairs on the go. For 210 days, she battled storms and the loneliness of the sea. It's like a teenage version of Castaway, only with fewer volleyballs. Finally, Jessica completed her epic voyage, making her the youngest person to sail solo around the world. Her success not only made headlines, but also inspired countless young adventurers to chase their dreams fearlessly. She proved that age is just a number and that with determination you can sail through anything. Now let's chat about Frans Sekou, a music teacher from Croatia who has a reputation for being the world's luckiest or unluckiest man. Frans' life reads like a series of wild movie plots, having survived a train crash, a plane crash, and multiple car accidents. Talk about a real-life action hero. His saga started in 1962 when a train he was on derailed and plunged into a river. 4 passengers perished, but Frans walked away with just a few scrapes, probably wondering why he even bothered to wear a seatbelt. A year later, he was ejected from a plane when the door blew off, landing safely in a haystack. Now that's what you call a soft landing. Not content with just one brush with death, Frans survived a car explosion, several more car accidents, and even jumped out of his car just before it tumbled off a cliff and exploded. As if that wasn't enough, in 2003, he won $1 million in the Croatian lottery. Now he enjoys a quiet life, claiming he's done tempting fate. After all that, who could blame him? He's already won the survival lottery.